ShotokuTech, Saturday Story Time. These are the stories that you might have missed while you were caught up in other stories. Welcome back to ShotokuTech, Saturday Story Time, 5 September 2020 edition. Okay, let's get started with this story. A halo of gas around Andromeda galaxy is mapped for the first time. So the Hubble Space Telescope has mapped the enormous gas halo around Andromeda. It's the nearest major galaxy to our galaxy, the Milky Way. This halo extends 1.3 light years away from the galaxy, and even up to 2 light years away in some places. This means Andromeda halo could be intersecting with Milky Way's halo. Understanding the huge halos of gas surrounding galaxies is immensely important. This reservoir of gas contains fuel for future star formation within the galaxy, as well as outflows from events such as supernova. It's full of clues regarding the past and the future of the galaxy, and we're finally able to study it in great detail. They used the Hubble's Cosmic Origin Spectrograph to look at the light coming from 43 quasars that are behind Andromeda, and the light coming from these quasars is scattered by the ionized gas in the halo, allowing the team to map out how far it reaches. So Elon Musk does a demo of NeuraLink on Gertrude the pig, and it was connected to an area of the pig's brain that's linked to her snout. As Gertrude's snout touched things, an area of dots and a series of noises indicated where more neurons are firing. The design of the NeuraLink device has changed. It's going to be much smaller, a coin-shaped device that will sit flush on the skull, rather than having a small module resting near the ear. The device can pair with a smartphone app over Bluetooth. Merging human brains with AI is why Musk wants to create the devices. It hasn't been tested yet on humans. The USA Food and Drug Administration has designated it as a breakthrough device so they can give constant feedback throughout the development process. NeuraLink didn't invent brain-machine interfaces. They've been around since 2006. But NeuraLink's main contribution is thin, flexible wires that are covered in electrodes to pick up brain activity. They may not cause as much damage as stiff needles, and they have more electrodes than other systems. NeuraLink device could help solve a number of neurological problems, from memory loss to strokes to addiction, and monitor users' health and warn them if they're having a heart attack. Elon Musk says the most important thing the device might be able to do would be able to let people achieve what he calls AI symbiosis, which allows the human brain to merge with an artificial intelligence, such that the future of the world is controlled by the combined will of the people. I think that's obviously going to be the future we want. So the Earth needs to let off some steam. On August 25th, the Giantess Geyser in Yellowstone National Park roared back to life after a period of more than 6.5 years without erupting. The last time the fountain geyser erupted was January 29, 2014. Giantess is named for its violent and infrequent eruptions reaching more than 200 feet. In its heyday, Giantess was considered one of the largest and most spectacular to witness. The surrounding area often shakes from underground steam explosions just before the initial water and steam eruptions. This was, without exception, the most magnificent phenomenon I ever beheld, explorer Nathaniel P. Langford wrote in Diary of the Washburn Expedition to the Yellowstone and Firehole Rivers in the year 1870. We could distinctly hear it gurgling and boiling at a fearful rate afar down this vertical cavern. Suddenly it commenced sputtering and rising with incredible rapidity, causing a general stampede among our company, who all moved around to the windward side of the geyser. The violence of Giantess is matched only by its gentler side, the rainbows that form in its steam and fountains. Yeah, sure, go fly a kite, they say. Well, here, this 3-year-old child gets caught in the kite's tail at this festival in Taiwan. So they were readying this kite, and dozens of onlookers and families were gathered nearby, cheering as the kite took off. But the tail wrapped around the girl's stomach, and she was flung around in the air for more than 30 seconds before the operators managed to lower the kite and the child to the ground. So make sure to check for the links down below to my Blogspot article, and you can see the video by following the URLs in that article. I think it's always touching when celebrities let their guard down and interact with the regular folks, and here the Foo Fighters founder Dave Grohl accepts a drum-off challenge from 10-year-old Nandi Bushell, who did a cover of Foo Fighters' song Everlong on her drums, and then she kicked it over to Dave. Well, Dave took the challenge, and it's hard to tell who actually won the drum-off, but then he tossed over another song from his supergroup formed in 2009 called Crooked Vultures, and the song is called Dead End Friends. Now it's back to Nandi. The challenge goes on. So this ancient breed of singing dog, thought to be extinct, is now being seen in the wild again. And this is in Papua New Guinea. There's evidence that this singing dog is back. They're called New Guinea singing dogs, and they produce a distinctive high-pitched noise, and unlike domesticated dogs, they don't bark or yip. They're native of remote mountainous highlands of the island of Papua New Guinea. They're related to dingoes from Australia. They were a rare sight to begin with because of their geographic location, and they're very shy. But there's been sightings recently of the wild dogs in New Guinea. They were finally able to find and photograph 15 of these dogs and collect blood samples. So these New Guinea singing dogs, also thought to be highland dogs, and dingoes may very well be the last truly wild dogs on the planet, clearly recognizable from domestic dogs. Understanding what makes them different could also provide insight into how most dogs became our best friends. These three populations of dogs are very similar to each other, and very distantly related to most dogs by today's standards. It appears this separation took place long before all the breeds formed, or even before the dogs split into a different continent. It's not just that they're wild and they represent this last wild population, but they do make this beautiful vocal harmonic sound that distinguishes them from all other populations of dogs. They're really something quite unique and quite special. And as a species, we don't want to lose them from the face of the earth. Well, they're back. Congratulations. Wormholes that move humans through space and time may be possible. Unfortunately, it sounds like a one-way trip because each time you pass through this wormhole, a lot of time transpires outside of the wormhole. Physics supports this concept of wormholes, but until now, most scientists agreed they would be too small and unstable for a person to travel through. But physicists at Princeton University have used quantum mechanics to find a mathematical loophole, which they think allows it to be possible to create a wormhole large enough for humans and a spacecraft. They use maths to theorize conditions that could make the wormhole possible, and even imagined what one would look like. From the outside, they look like mass-charged black holes, and they need to be big enough to allow humans to travel through them. It would take a very short time to traverse, but a long time as seen from the outside. We have not given any plausible mechanism for their formation. We have only argued that their configurations are allowed by the equations. In theory, wormholes could act like a magical gateway, easily connecting two points in space and time with each other. It's essentially folding space and time so two places in space can be connected together. Think of it like a piece of paper with two dots, and then you fold it so the two dots are touching, and then you force a pen through the page. That hole that you create represents the wormhole. Einstein theorized that space and time can be tangled up so tightly that 2 points can share the same physical location. Then you just need a short wormhole between the two for instantaneous travel. We'll need more advanced technology. These physicists relied on something called five-dimensional warped geometry theory, which proposes that the universe is in 5 dimensions. That fifth dimension allows something to be unlocked called negative energy, and this is needed to make the wormhole stable and large. Then we just need the right tools to manipulate the negative energy. Some scientists think we should look for natural wormholes in space by observing how gravity is distorting light behind stars. So the true size of prehistoric megashark is finally revealed. Researchers at the University of Bristol and Swansea University have revealed the size of this Megalodon. This shark lived from around 23 million to 3 million years ago. And they've determined its size to be well over twice the size of the largest shark, the great white shark. They've used a number of mathematical methods to pin down the size and proportions of this monster by making close comparisons to a diversity of living relatives with ecological and physiological similarities to the Megalodon. So here you see the proposed size of the Megalodon's dorsal fin compared to a 1.6 meter tall diver. These researchers had to determine if the modern sharks changed proportions as they grew up. Like humans, where babies have big heads and short legs, we would have some difficulty projecting the adult proportions for such an extinct shark. But they were surprised and relieved to discover that, in fact, the babies of modern sharks start out as little adults. They don't change in proportion as they get larger. So they could simply take the growth curves of the 5 modern forms and project the overall shape as they get larger and larger, right up to the body length of 16 meters. This 16 meter long Megalodon likely had a head round 4.65 meters long, a dorsal fin approximately 1.62 meters tall, and a tail nearly 4 meters high. The reconstruction of this Megalodon represents a fundamental step towards better understanding the physiology of this giant and the factors that may have made it prone to extinction. Thank you for watching ShotokuTech Saturday Story Time, and look down below for the link in the description to this Blogspot article with all the URLs to the stories we just talked about. Thank you and have a great week. Thank you for watching ShotokuTech. Please subscribe, comment, like, and share.